Hey, it's Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe Hikes. Leaving camp here at Cumberland Gap. I'm going to take the Wilderness Road Trail back to Tri-State Peak this morning. Shouldn't be too bad of a hike. Might be a bit of a climb when we get down there to the ridge, but I think from here to there it should be not so bad. Anyway, we got to catch the trail that's right here behind these campsites here. Kind of loosely follows the highway, so probably won't be a quiet route, but maybe if we get into the woods it'll quiet down a little bit. All right, so we came through that campsite there. I think it's E20 maybe, I'm not sure, but we've made our way onto the trail and off we go. So far the trail's pretty mild, not a lot of climbing or anything. We're about 200 yards or so off the highway here. We should start peeling away from it. We'll go up and we'll cross the road that comes into the park. We can actually, I think, see it ahead of us. So this makes some sense because back down the trail I was seeing some places that kind of look like horses had been, so apparently they're allowed on this lower part of the trail. We're going to split here. There's a parking area right here, but we're going to go and follow the main track up here and across the road and then make our way over toward the ridge. The camera's not going to pick him up, but I just scared up I guess it was a snipe. Had a long beak on it. About the size of a quail, so I think that's what it was. Kind of in a low area right here, so we start climbing up out of this. This trail's a little bit moist. All right, we're crossing the park entrance, or campground entrance road here. Colson Trail, 0.8 miles. I think we did about a half then. Here we go. Boone Trail, 1.5 miles. Historic Cumberland Gap, 2.5 miles. Tri-State Peak, 3.1. No horses. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a deer. There he goes. Big rack. Heard me speaking. Hear that snort? It's beautiful. Huge rack. Gorgeous. Probably long gone or lit down in that thicket there. After crossing the entrance road, the trail's been pretty wide, but we've peeled away from the highway, so it's a lot quieter, which is nice. This little draw's not even running. Onward. The main highway is to our left. In fact, you can hear it. You can just barely see through the trees when a car goes by. At least I think I saw a car go by. But anyway, we're starting to turn a little closer to it. That road runs kind of along the Tennessee-Virginia line. So we're just over into Virginia here. We're hugging the road at this point. You can see the cars going by. I don't know how long we'll be this close. But loosely we're going to be following it. We peel away a little bit more here and there. It is what it is. Just glad we're not doing a road walk. Much rather be over here. You can see the pea gravel. So I don't know if that was, I doubt that's remnants of the old roadbed. They probably came in here and added pea gravel in some areas. We're doing a little chicane here, or a little loop, a little bit of a hill. to an old bench cut here. So this old culvert is, I guess, kind of a telltale sign, right? And this had to have been an old road. It had closed in a little bit back there, but it was bench cut, so it was obvious that as wide as it was an old road, or logging road or something. So we kind of peeled away from the highway. We're going to hook and go back toward it again. We'll do that a couple of times. Gives us a nice audible break, if you will. It's beautiful though. Still some leaves on the trees, still some color. Well, even though you can hear the highway, the trail itself has been beautiful. We're coming to some kind of a little switch back here. Maybe gonna open up. But to this point in the woods, it's just been very nice. Let's see where this is gonna take us. Yeah, they do a lot to come in here and cut, as you can see. Well, we got a parking area down here. Girl just came by walking her dog. It's like a maybe visitor center of some sort. We're about a mile from Cumberland Gap and Tri-State Peaks 1.6. We're going to come down here, have a little sit and drink some water. It's a kind of nice little parking area. Right across the highway is the Tennessee state line, so it's running from you know, right to left in front of us. So it's back a little ways from the road, but still, basically, we're right on the cusp of the state line. It's a pretty neat little area. Got a lot of interpretive displays. So, yeah. Okay, so that was the Colson Trail we started on. It became the Boone Trail. So, and then we're picking up the Wilderness Road Trail. So I called it Wilderness Road Trail from the beginning, but I could have sworn there was a sign back here when I pulled in yesterday that showed that crossbeam, Wilderness Road Trail too. So we'll get it straightened out. You can see all of the trails that you can hike. You got the Lewis Hollow Trail. That might be something we want to take a look at. Somewhere back here is the Gibson Gap Trail, but I was reading that has some bushwhacking and stuff and might not be the best getting up through that gap. I just don't know, but we'll see. You can see the ridge runs this way, and then there's the gap, so hence the name Cumberland Gap. That's the old Wilderness Road there, so obviously some of what we were on was probably that old roadbed. And the Daniel Boone Wilderness Trail, so pretty cool. All right, we're back on the trail. No, it's really wide here, obviously. Maintenance trucks or something have come on here before. But a little breezy, feels good. It's been pretty warm with the sun out. Look at these trees, look how beautiful the color. Just awesome. Love it. See some cliffs up there. Fulfilling the dream. If roads could talk, the one you're on would have many tales to tell, from Buffalo Trace to Warrior's Path, Wilderness Road, Dixie Highway, US Highway 25E, and back to the Wilderness Road. It has come almost full circle over the past 2 centuries. Since the conception of the apart back in the 1920s, some had dreamed of restoring the historic trail through the gap. 80 years later, their dream was realized. Recreating the 1780s Wilderness Road took years of field work and research, which included referencing an 1833 survey and an 1862 Civil War era map. I am listening to the tread of oncoming millions. U.S. Senator Henry Clay, standing in the gap in 1850, predicting the flow of humanity to the west. Well, there you go. All right. So they have closed the Wilderness Road Trail from here. So we're going to have to take the Gap Cave Trail instead. See where this takes us. Well, we just hit some pavement. Hoping that there's some way that this will connect us back. There's a loop maybe right here. Alright, so change of plans. The little sign back there that said that the Wilderness Road Trail was closed between Gap Cave Trail and Tennessee Road. This is Gap Cave Trail. Tennessee Road is further up. We can't get to the pinnacle from here. They've got that closed, and because I don't have the names of all these little trails, I didn't know that was going to be on the way and was going to impact me. So it is what it is. We are going to come up here to the cave though, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do from there. There may be a way I can road walk the gap right there. We'll see, but let's go check out the cave at least. The lady coming down said it's nice and cool in there. Well, the light's going to be poor. Went something flying out. Little bird. Very dark. Alright, got my headlamp on. Maybe that'll help a little bit. You can see. Looks like it goes way back there. You can feel a breeze coming through there, so it opens up back there somewhere. I think at one time it probably went up and finished that loop, because we saw another trail splitting off back there. It was also paved, so yeah, pretty cool. You can see remnants of stalactites and stuff. Pretty neat. We're back in there. Pretty crazy. Beautiful here though. Sure wish we could continue on. We'll see. The sad thing is we can see the trail right down there. And they said the bridge is out. But the whole problem is they're working on a bridge down there somewhere. Just wish there was a way to get around it. Get back down there and we'd be on our way. I don't know, we have to see what our options are. Up here we can see that turn off. I have a feeling that that goes up and that you were able to come around in the cave and probably come out here at one point before they shut it off. So I believe down there is the town of Cumberland Gap. And that parking area can't be too terribly far. I'm going to see if there's maybe a footpath along the road that would take us into town. That lady I stopped and talked to a minute ago said that there is another trailhead on the other side of town. She said you'd have to drive there, but let's go find out. I'd really like to knock those points out today. I just wasn't paying attention to what that sign back there really meant. and not knowing. So what are you gonna do? You can just see remnants of a boardwalk. I can see it pretty well down there. Looks like there's some houses down there. But what I'm hoping is that boardwalk's part of maybe a greenway or something. And maybe that lady didn't know about. She said there was no way from here to over there, but maybe we'll be lucky. So a side note, somewhere around my pack has been a stink bug. It don't smell good. But that boardwalk, it turns out, does go back to town. I was asking some guys who were working out of a shed down there at the rest area thing, and I mentioned the trail being closed. He said you can hike that closed section. He said just don't get on the bridge. So I'll have to just cross the creek on foot. So I think that's what we're gonna do. All right, we went up and saw the cave, went back and talked to those guys, and they said you can go around this, but don't get on the bridge. So that's what we're gonna do. He said there's a lot of equipment down here too, so don't be surprised about that either. Anyway, 4/10 of a mile back and down and back to find that information out, so 8/10 total. I'll have to shave off the final. Of course, we're gonna add that Gap Cave trail as well. So anyway, onward. So we were right up there. The cave is right up there. I remember looking down and seeing this these beams. It looks like the trail largely went this way, maybe originally. I don't know, but this wasn't as this wasn't quite like I thought it was going to be. So this is actually quite fortunate. We'll just crawl across these rocks, or walk across these rocks. Not bad at all. So that lady I was talking to earlier, she didn't know about that boardwalk. But I was telling her maybe I could go back around the campground and do some of the hikes out of there that go back up the ridge on the other side, like Gibson Cave Gap or Gibson Gap. Some of those, she said, well, some of those backcountry trails were still closed from the hurricane. And she said some of them have been closed because of bears, which makes sense. One of the reports I read from just last week was somebody ran into a bear that they said was acting fairly aggressive. She said a guy told her just 2 days ago he was out there and had a couple of cubs, came upon a couple of cubs. So it's what it is. This area is probably not hunted along this ridge. So, you know, they get a little emboldened. But I don't know. We're going to keep moving, see if we can't do this summer and get on back to camp. You can see some people hiking up there. As come to our little junction here, Cumberland Gap. Town of Cumberland Gap, of course, is down this hill. We're going to move on. And then when you see these steps, water bars, if you will, you're going up. Gotta get up to that saddle right there. All right, we're here at Cumberland Gap. I had thought there was going to be a trail going up to Pinnacle right from here, but there's not. Tri-State Peak, 6/10 of a mile. This goes to the parking area, and you can drive up to the Pinnacle or walk up. But we're going to go on to Tri-State Peak here. Take a look. We got some kind of concrete monument here. Daniel Boone's Trail from North Carolina to Kentucky. You can imagine what it was like to come through that gap heading west back in the day. Erected by the Kentucky Daughters of the American Revolution, 1915. Pretty cool. Got some cliffs here There are big rocks to our right. We're gonna work our way up. Oh, little turn off here. Is that a cave? I don't know. Oh wow. Yes, it is. I would imagine. Probably opens up real big under there somewhere. I'll leave that for you, Shell. It'll be right up your alley to squeeze through that track and discover what's in there. Not mine. We're gonna come back and catch that maybe on the way back. Y'all have a good day. There's an old fort ruins up there. I imagine during the Civil War that was a opportune place to fire cannons. You can see across to the pinnacle. You can see a little overlook, it looks like, up there. So we keep making our way to the top of this peak. Colonial boundary, 1665. A little breezy. We can see here on the ground, this is a tri-state marker. So we got Tennessee, we're in Tennessee, we're in Virginia, we're in Kentucky. There you go. Looking off into Kentucky. Another big ridge on the other side there. Tennessee. All out yonder way. And Virginia. All out that way. All right, making our way back down. So there's the pinnacle again through the trees. What I thought was a dotted line coming out of the gap and going across there was actually a dash and dotted line in all trails, signifying the state line. Yeah. So we may drive up there tomorrow, have a look. Hopefully it won't be socked in, but we'll see. But we did get to see Tri-State Peak and got to see Gap Cave. So yeah, all in all, it's been quite a day. All right, on our way down, let's go check out this Fort Foot. Fort Foot. Reminds me of my grandma. You'd never catch her using a swear word, but if you got her dander up, you might hear her say, "Oh, foot." So that was a nice memory, that sign. There's some nice rock to climb up through. I don't know if this goes around. Let's go see. Well, not much up here. Some old rock. Supposedly the pedestals for the old cannons are around here somewhere. That's not it. Let's go back to that turnoff back there. Apparently the fort was right up here on this summit. Oh, I don't see any ruins for any cannons or anything. Well, we got another view of the pinnacle out there. There we go. All right, we went up to the Fort Foot. What Wasn't much up there. Nature done got it what we in the South call plumb covered up. If I missed something, let me know in the comments, but I didn't even see any stones for the cannons that are supposed to be up there. Not the cannons are up there, but the stones from them. But anyway, oh well, make our way back down. All right, we're back here at Cumberland Gap. We'll make our way back down. All right, we made it back across the creek. I bet this is something when it's really raining hard, or has been. Beautiful. But make ourselves forward past the little bobcat here. All right, Gap Cave turnoff. Moving on. All right, we're going to take the Boone Trail back to the Colston Trail. Colston Trail. I referred to all this as a Wilderness Trail because I think that's the way I saw it labeled on a track. But either way, I think it is the old Wilderness Roads. It may have been called that at one time and then they break it up. Who knows? But we're heading back. I think that Colston Trail is going to pick up at the crossing at the road. I think that's what that 1.5 miles was. It sounds about right. And we got about a half mile beyond that. Very thankful for those guys letting me hike that closed section. I don't usually advocate that, but they gave me some caveats to follow, which I did. All right, coming down into kind of a low, flat kind of area. And getting into this section where I got kind of a ridge, low ridge on one side to give me some shade. It got really warm today. When I got down next to town, I checked the temp, it was 77. So, yeah. Pretty warm with the sun out, but it's nice to have the sun out, so I'm not going to complain about that. Let's get good and sweaty. Anyway, making our way, we'll get over here, across a couple of little bridges, across the road, work our way around to the campground, be back to Old Gobi. So we're back here at the road. And interesting, it says Boone Trail 1.5 miles and the Gap 2.5. And yet back there, I thought the sign said that this was the Boone Trail we were on and that we were almost at the Colston. But here it says the Colston Trail is 0.8 of a mile from here. So it's all a little confusing. I think we got about a half a mile to where we're going to turn in. We're almost back. But I noticed this little patch of what looks like ground cedar. Or some form of it. Pretty cool. Anyway, we're at the junction here where that little trail goes back into this parking area over here. We'll make our way to the left. I was right, I didn't see any. All right, we're back at our little campsite here where we're going to duck in. This seemed to be like one of the more convenient places. We'll see what the campsite number is here. I think it's E20, but maybe E10, I'm just not sure. Maybe E1, who knows? E2. So close. Well, we can see Old Gobi waiting patiently. Hopefully nobody broke in and got my cap gun. Might want to play a little Daniel Boone later. With an homage to the Wilderness and Boone trails. Well, Wilderness Road Trail via Colston and Boone trails to Tri-State Peak done. We had a side trip to Gap Cave and Fort Foot. it was a good trail. I mean, it wore me out a bit. There was a good bit of climbing at the end, but nothing seriously steep. But my legs are still sore from my last hike, which had a lot of climbing. So they're not really fully recovered. So this got me good and tired, which is fine. Anyway, we're done. We're gonna get cleaned up here and get us some lunch.